Rich lady splashes mud on cleaner girl. Unaware who was watching, it was supposed to be just another day on the job. Until a wealthy socialite splashed mud on a hotel cleaner without remorse. But what she didn't know was that someone powerful was watching, and he wasn't about to let it slide. What followed was a jaw-dropping twist that turned humiliation into triumph and left an entire city questioning what true class really means. Don't miss this powerful story of grace, revenge, and redemption. Support us by subscribing to our channel. It was a bright Monday morning in downtown Chicago, the kind that made the skyscrapers gleam like silver monuments. Cars sped by, pedestrians bustled about, and coffee carts were swarmed by sleepy-eyed office workers craving caffeine. Among the sea of professionals, a young woman named Lily Porter walked quietly along the sidewalk, pushing a cleaning trolley in her neat but worn-out uniform. Lily was 23, soft-spoken, and had recently taken up a janitorial job at the prestigious Silvergate Hotel. She wasn't ashamed of her work. It was honest labor, and she needed every dollar to pay off her late mother's medical debts and support her younger brother Caleb, still in high school. As she walked, head slightly bowed, careful not to bump into the city's more hurried residents, a black luxury SUV sped through a large puddle beside the curb. A wave of brown, murky water splashed across her uniform and face. Gasps came from a few witnesses nearby. The SUV slowed down just enough for the tinted passenger window to roll down. Inside sat a woman in her early 30s, perfectly styled hair, diamond-studded sunglasses, and the kind of smug grin that made your skin crawl. Her name was Sabrina Westwood, heiress to a chain of luxury boutiques and known more for her Instagram rants than her business acumen. "You might want to stand a little further from the road next time, sweetheart," Sabrina sneered, not even offering an apology. "Or better yet, take the alleyways. That's more your scene, isn't it?" The window rolled up and the SUV roared away. Lily stood frozen. Her entire front was drenched in gritty water. Her cleaning cart had tipped over, supplies spilled all over the sidewalk. People passed by, some with pitying glances, others pretending not to see. A few took out their phones, probably recording, hoping for viral content. What none of them noticed was a man standing just across the street, leaning casually against a food truck. He wore jeans, a navy hoodie, and a Cubs cap pulled low. But his eyes, sharp and calculating, had witnessed every second of the exchange. His name was Grant Callahan, and while to most he looked like just another guy grabbing breakfast, Grant happened to be the silent partner and majority stakeholder in the Silvergate Hotel, the very building Lily was headed to. He didn't flinch. He didn't speak. But the look in his eyes said one thing. He'd seen enough. Back on the sidewalk, Lily knelt down silently and began collecting her scattered supplies. Her cheeks burned, but she blinked back the tears. She wouldn't cry. Not out here. Not for someone like that. But deep down, something had shifted. What felt like just another humiliating day was about to become the beginning of a story neither Sabrina nor Lily could have imagined. Because sometimes the people you treat as invisible are the ones with the power to rewrite your future. Lily stepped into the gleaming lobby of the Silvergate Hotel, her clothes still damp, her pride scraped raw. The hotel smelled of lavender and polished wood, a world away from the muddy sidewalk she had just escaped. She kept her head low, hoping no one would notice the stains on her uniform, but shame clung to her, tighter than the dirty water on her sleeves. "Porter, you're late," barked Mrs. Jenkins, the housekeeping manager. She was a strict woman with a sharp tongue and no patience for excuses. "And what in God's name happened to you?" I got splashed by a car," Lily mumbled. Jenkins gave her a once-over. "You're cleaning the top floor today. Executive suites. Get changed and don't embarrass the hotel." Lily nodded and hurried off. As she disappeared down the hallway, the man in the hoodie walked in behind her, unnoticed. Grant Callahan pulled down his cap and gave a small nod to the doorman, who didn't recognize him out of his usual tailored suit. Grant had grown up in Chicago's working-class South Side, and though he'd made millions in tech before investing in real estate, he hadn't forgotten his roots. He believed in hard work and second chances. and he couldn't get Lily's expression out of his head. The quiet dignity, the way she picked herself up without shouting or blaming anyone. That stuck with him. Instead of heading to his usual office on the 30th floor, Grant made his way to security. The head of security, Vince, nearly dropped his coffee when he saw him. "Mr. Callahan, didn't expect you today." Grant gave a small smile. "Keep it quiet, Vince. I'm here for something specific. I need footage from the front sidewalk between 8 and 8:30 this morning, and I want names of every car that pulled up." Vince raised a brow but nodded. "Got it. Anything else?" "Yeah, find out who the girl is that got splashed." Back upstairs, Lily had changed into a spare uniform and was pushing her trolley down the plush carpet of the executive floor. She paused in front of Suite 3302, the penthouse. A do not disturb tag hung from the door, but she knocked gently anyway, just in case. No answer. She swiped her master key and entered. The room was massive, high ceilings, velvet curtains, a skyline view of Lake Michigan. Lily started with the bathroom, her hands steady even as her mind spun with thoughts from earlier that morning. Why did people like that woman feel so entitled to treat others like garbage? What would it cost her to just say sorry? As she scrubbed the marble counter, she didn't realize the suite had been booked just 10 minutes earlier. And the name on the reservation? Grant Callahan. Back at security, Vince tapped a few keys and pulled up the footage. There it was. Sabrina Westwood's SUV splashing Lily with muddy water, clear as day. Grant folded his arms and stared at the screen. "Send me a copy," he said flatly, "and track down her driver. I want a word." This wasn't going to be just another hotel incident. Not on his watch. Someone was about to learn that every action has consequences, especially when the wrong person is watching. Sabrina Westwood sipped a matcha latte inside the exclusive Skylight Lounge, located on the top floor of her father's flagship Westwood Boutique Tower. Dressed in a white designer pantsuit and surrounded by influencers and minor celebrities, she scrolled through her phone, chuckling at the video she'd posted earlier. A slow-motion capture of the muddy splash, cut with a smug voiceover. "Watch out, peasants. This road belongs to queens." Her followers loved it. Thousands of likes, hundreds of laughing emojis. "Classic Sabrina," one commented. "She should have brought an umbrella to block her poverty," read another. Sabrina laughed, proud of the chaos she caused. To her, that cleaner girl was just a forgettable extra in her movie star life. Meanwhile, at the Silvergate Hotel, Lily was finishing up her last suite for the day. She was exhausted, both physically and emotionally. Her wet uniform from earlier was now stuffed into a plastic bag in her locker, and she was desperate for a quiet bus ride home. All she wanted was to rest before her evening shift at the diner. As she walked toward the exit, Mrs. Jenkins intercepted her. "You're wanted in the executive office," she said. Lily blinked. "Me? Why?" Mrs. Jenkins didn't look at her. Didn't say, "Just go." Confused, Lily made her way to the 30th floor, where only high-level meetings and bigwigs operated. She'd never been up there. The carpets were thicker, the air colder, and the reception desk was manned by a woman who eyed Lily like she didn't belong. "You must be Ms. Porter," the receptionist said stiffly. "Mr. Callahan will see you now." Lily's eyes widened. "Callahan? Like, the owner?" The woman just motioned her toward the glass double doors. Inside, Grant stood by the window, arms crossed, looking out at the Chicago skyline. He turned as Lily walked in, her steps cautious. "Hi, Lily. I'm Grant Callahan," he said gently. "I appreciate you coming up." Lily stared, unsure what to say. She'd seen his photo before, of course, usually in business articles about the youngest real estate investor in the Midwest. She didn't expect him to be wearing sneakers and a Cubs cap. "I saw what happened to you this morning," he continued. "Outside the hotel. I was across the street." Lily's cheeks flushed. "You saw that?" "I did, and I saw how you handled it. Quietly, with grace. That's rare." She shifted awkwardly. "It's fine. It's not the worst thing that's happened to me." Grant offered a half smile. "Still, it shouldn't have happened at all." He stepped over to his desk and picked up a tablet. "I had the security footage pulled, and I know who the woman in that SUV is. Her name's Sabrina Westwood." Lily's eyes widened. She'd heard the name. Everyone had. "She mocked you, filmed it, and posted it online," he said. sliding the tablet toward her. "It's already going viral." Lily's face fell as she watched the video, her humiliation replayed in slow motion for the world to laugh at. "Why are you showing me this?" she asked quietly. "Because I don't believe in letting things like this slide," Grant said. "I believe in accountability." He paused, then added with calm conviction, "And I think it's time someone like her got a lesson in humility, taught by someone like you." Lily stared at him, unsure whether this was the beginning of something extraordinary or a dangerous road she didn't belong on. Either way, the lines between their two worlds had just collided, and nothing would ever be the same. Lily sat stiffly across from Grant in the quiet executive office, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. The weight of what he'd just said still hung in the air. She'd been humiliated, laughed at by thousands online, and now the hotel owner himself was telling her she could teach her bully a lesson. "I'm not sure what you mean," Lily said cautiously. "What can I do? People like her, they don't care about someone like me." Grant leaned forward. "That's exactly why it'll matter. People like Sabrina think they're untouchable, but sometimes all it takes is the right moment and the right person to knock them off that pedestal." Lily looked at him uncertainly. "But how?" Grant stood and walked to the window again. "I own a majority share in Westwood's newest boutique location. It opens next weekend. Sabrina's going to be there. All cameras on her, big launch event, the works." He turned and looked her dead in the eye. "I want you there too, but not as a cleaner." Lily frowned. "What does that mean?" Grant smiled slightly. "It means we're going to give her a taste of her own medicine, with elegance and class." Lily's heart pounded. "This sounds like revenge." "It's not revenge," he said calmly. "It's correction." The next day, Lily returned to work like normal, pushing her cart and keeping to herself. But behind the scenes, things were already in motion. Grant had quietly sent his assistant to meet with a top fashion stylist, a hair and makeup team, and even a posture coach. No one knew who the client was, only that it was under Grant Callahan's personal directive. Meanwhile, in a high-rise across the city, Sabrina lounged in a velvet chair as a glam squad airbrushed her already perfect skin. "Do you know how many views my splash video got?" she bragged. "Over 2 million in less than a day. My dad's PR guy said controversy drives engagement. I might even get a podcast deal out of it." Her best friend Trina laughed. "You're basically a brand now, babe." But while Sabrina reveled in her shallow fame, Grant was planning her collision course with humility. He spent that afternoon personally coaching Lily through what was coming. "I know this is overwhelming," he told her during a quiet session in one of the hotel's private lounges, "but this isn't about turning you into someone you're not. It's about showing them who you really are. Someone with strength, grace, and value." Lily bit her lip. "But what if I fail? What if I go in there and she laughs again?" "Then let her laugh," Grant replied, "because this time, the world won't laugh with her." Lily exhaled slowly. For the first time, the weight of shame was lifting, replaced by something new, something unfamiliar, power. She still didn't fully understand the plan or what exactly Grant had in store, but one thing was certain, she wasn't invisible anymore. And come next weekend, neither was the truth. By the following Thursday, Lily felt like she was walking through someone else's life. Instead of waking at 5 a.m. to scrub toilets and haul cleaning carts, she sat in a high-rise studio downtown, surrounded by mirrors, stylists, and racks of clothing that probably cost more than she earned in a month. Grant had insisted on the best. "If we're doing this," he'd said, "we're doing it right." The transformation was slow but deliberate. Her frizzy ponytail was washed and conditioned, then styled into soft waves that framed her delicate face. Her chipped nails were cleaned, filed, and painted with a pale shimmer. A soft glam makeup look brought out her honey-toned eyes and high cheekbones, and a personal shopper had hand-picked an elegant emerald green dress that hugged her figure just right. Stylish, but not screaming for attention. When she looked in the mirror, Lily hardly recognized herself, but the changes went deeper than appearances. Over the past few days, Grant had arranged private coaching sessions. A woman named Diane, once a finishing school instructor, had been brought in to teach Lily everything from posture to table etiquette. Another coach helped her practice confidence in conversation. How to hold her own in a room full of judgmental socialites and power players. It's not about pretending to be someone else, Diane had said. It's about showing them the real you, the you that's always been buried under their assumptions. Each session chipped away at Lily's insecurities. For the first time in her life, she stood straighter, spoke clearer, and smiled without second-guessing herself. But there were still doubts. On Friday night, Lily stood on the hotel balcony where it all began, the same sidewalk where Sabrina's SUV had splashed her like garbage. She looked down at the spot, remembering the cold, the sting of embarrassment, the smirk on Sabrina's face. Grant joined her a moment later. He wore a sharp gray blazer, no tie, his presence as steady as always. "You nervous?" he asked gently. Lily didn't answer right away. "A little. I'm not used to anyone looking at me like I matter." He turned to face her. "Well, they should have been. You've got more strength in you than most people I've met, including half the board members I sit across from every month." She looked at him, genuinely touched. "Why are you helping me, Grant?" "Really?" He hesitated, then said, "Because I've been where you are, overlooked, stepped on. I know what it's like to feel small, and I also know how powerful it is to finally stand tall." Lily nodded slowly, her confidence blooming like sunlight through cracks in pavement. The event was tomorrow night. Sabrina Westwood would be there in all her glory, surrounded by her online entourage. She'd expect praise, adoration, more fake laughs from fake people. But she wouldn't expect Lily Porter. And that, Grant knew, was the key to everything. Tomorrow, the girl she tried to humiliate would walk into that launch event, not as a cleaner, but as a storm waiting to happen. The night of the Westwood grand opening arrived, and Chicago's elite descended on the glittering glass tower like moths to a flame. Luxury cars lined the Valley Strip, camera flashes fired at every turn, and champagne flowed freely as socialites posed in front of golden step-and-repeat backdrops. Inside, the ballroom sparkled under chandeliers imported from Italy. Music hummed beneath layers of chatter and laughter. In the center of it all stood Sabrina Westwood, clad in a sequin gold gown that shimmered like starlight. Her entourage hovered, phones out, capturing every angle. "This is my night," Sabrina purred as she sipped her cocktail. "Everyone's eyes should be on me." And they were, until they weren't. The moment Lily walked in, the entire room shifted. She entered alone, stepping out of the elevator as if she'd been born for red carpets. Her emerald green gown caught the light like crushed velvet, elegant and understated, but impossible to ignore. Her hair fell in soft waves around her shoulders, and a simple silver necklace glinted at her collarbone. For a second, no one knew who she was. Whispers traveled through the room like wildfire. "Who is she? She must be someone important. Is she a model? Wait, is that the girl from that video? No way." Lily kept her head high, her walk graceful. The coaching had worked, not because it had made her someone else, but because it had helped her stop hiding. Across the room, Sabrina noticed the sudden silence. Her smile faltered. She followed the crowd's gaze and nearly choked on her drink. "No freaking way," she whispered. Lily stopped a few feet away from her. For a moment, the two women stared at each other in silence. Sabrina blinked rapidly, as if trying to process what she was seeing. "You," she started. "What are you doing here?" Lily smiled. "Funny, I was about to ask you the same thing." The crowd leaned in closer, sensing tension. "I didn't recognize you," Sabrina muttered, clearly flustered. "What are you wearing?" Lily looked down, then back at her. "Confidence. You should try it sometime." Gas rippled through the nearby guests. Sabrina's eyes narrowed. "You think you can just show up here and what? Steal my spotlight?" "I didn't steal anything," Lily said calmly, "but I'm not going to let you keep taking things that don't belong to you. Like dignity, like decency." Before Sabrina could respond, a hush fell over the room as Grant Callahan stepped onto the small stage near the bar, microphone in hand. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he said, his voice steady. "Before we continue, I'd like to acknowledge someone who reminded me this week what real class looks like." His eyes found Lily in the crowd. Someone who was treated cruelly, but responded with more strength and grace than most people ever do. Lily Porter, would you join me up here? Murmurs swirled as Lily walked to the stage. Sabrina looked like she'd just been slapped. When Lily took the mic, she paused, scanning the room. Most people here didn't see what happened that morning, she began, but many of you shared the video. You laughed, and maybe for a moment it felt funny, but it wasn't. The room was silent. I was covered in mud, she continued, not by accident, but by choice. Someone made that choice. But I'm here to remind you that how we treat others, especially those we think are beneath us, says more about us than it ever does about them. She handed the mic back and stepped down. The applause that followed wasn't explosive. It was slow, thoughtful, and honest. Sabrina stood frozen, her cheeks burning. For the first time in her life, no one rushed to comfort her, because this time everyone had seen the truth. And Lily had finally been seen. The applause faded into a respectful silence as Lily stepped off the stage. Though she hadn't raised her voice or pointed fingers, her words hit harder than anything viral ever could. She had spoken not with vengeance, but with dignity. And somehow that stung worse for Sabrina than any public takedown. Grant met Lily at the bottom of the stairs, offering a proud nod. You did it, Lily smiled softly. I just told the truth. You did more than that, he said. You made them listen. Sabrina stood rooted in place, surrounded by people she once commanded. But now the spotlight didn't feel warm, it felt blistering. Eyes didn't admire her, they judged. Even Trina, her loyal best friend, edged away slowly, unsure whether to stay in Sabrina's orbit or save herself from the fallout. You set me up, Sabrina hissed, storming up to Grant and Lily. This was all a show. Your little pet project. No, Grant replied, unshaken. This was a mirror. You just didn't like what you saw in it. Sabrina scoffed and looked around, searching for someone, anyone, to support her. But the room had shifted. The laughter was gone. The admiration, absent. For once, no one rushed to defend her cruelty. Realizing it, Sabrina turned and walked out, heels clicking against the marble floor like echoes of a reputation unraveling. Later that night, the ballroom thinned out, but Lily remained. She stood on the rooftop terrace, looking out over the city lights. The same girl who once walked home in muddy scrubs now stood in a gown, no longer invisible. Grant joined her, hands in his pockets. You sure you want to go back to being a cleaner after all this? Lily chuckled. I never minded being a cleaner, Grant. I minded being looked at like I didn't matter. He nodded thoughtfully. Well, if you ever want a different title, I've got openings. Assistant manager, guest relations, maybe something bigger down the line. Lily turned to him, surprised. You serious? Dead serious. You've got leadership written all over you, and the kind of integrity this place desperately needs. She smiled, eyes misty. I'll think about it. Just then, an older woman approached. One of the board members Grant had mentioned. She held out her hand to Lily. I just wanted to say, thank you. That was the most powerful speech I've ever heard at one of these events. You reminded us what real class is. Lily shook her hand, stunned. Thank you, ma'am. As the woman walked away, Grant looked at Lily and grinned. Told you. 2 weeks later, Lily started her new position as Assistant Guest Experience Manager at the hotel's newest branch. She still passed by cleaning staff and greeted them with warmth, not because she had to, but because she remembered what it felt like to be ignored. As for Sabrina, her online fame fizzled. The video that once brought her millions of views now only served as a reminder, not of power, but of pettiness. And Lily, she didn't become famous. She became something better, respected. Because while Sabrina wore glitter, Lily wore grace. And in the end, grace always shines longer. Lily Porter's story wasn't about revenge. It was about rising above cruelty without losing her kindness. She didn't need to shout to be heard. Her quiet strength spoke volumes. In a world obsessed with status and appearance, Lily reminded everyone that true class isn't worn. It's lived. But just when she thought the chapter had closed, a letter arrived at her new office from someone she never expected to hear from again. If you believe in the power of resilience and kindness, hit the like button and share this story to inspire others. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories that uplift and empower.